Good day, class. It's Sir Capistrano again. So for today, we will be having another discussion or another lesson for our Math 1 statistics. So for today, we will be actually continuing our discussion regarding how to present and organize your data, wherein that presentation and organization will be helpful for the readers and your audience on how they can fully understand your study or your research. So in that, we will be discussing graphing frequency distribution. So before we actually go on to the graphing part of frequency distribution, let's first introduce yet another frequency distribution that looks like uh, it looks like a graph, but at the same time, it looks like a frequency distribution table. So let's first dive into stem and leaf blood. So stem and leaf blood is actually introduced by John Tukey, one I think it's a statistician regarding frequency distribution. So this distribution overcomes the loss of actual observations. So by overcomes the loss of actual observation, as you may have noticed in our group distribution or frequency distribution table, due to due to grouping of data according to classes, we actually don't know kung ano na ba yung mga natirang data dun sa data natin. For example, kung yung range natin last time is from 18 to I think 26, in that range, hindi na natin dun alam. Pag nilagay na natin dun sa frequency distribution data table, hindi na natin alam kung ilan ba dun yung 18, ilan yung 19, 20, 21, and so on. So, using this stem and leaf plot, matatanggal natin yung ganong loss of actual observations. So, actual observation is observed, and the stem, to construct stem and leaf plot, the stem is the leading digit and is placed at the first column. Then, the leaf is the trailing digit and is placed at the second column. So, for the stem and leaf plot, it would look like this if we have this data. So, I have here a data of, I think, 30. So, 36. So I have here 36 data ranging from 15 to 32, being 15 as the lowest value and 32 as the highest value. So if we are to construct a frequency distribution using this data, we will be losing all of this data like 15, 16, 17 up to 32. But in stem and leaf plot, what will happen here? Oh, so I don't have a space here. So for stem and leaf blood, what we need to do is just need to account for the first digits of the observations. So as you can see here, I am marking out all of the digits that have 1 as their leading digit. So I have here 1. I just write that as 1. So I have here 1. So for the next part, I just need to identify the leading digits again. So if I started at 1, the next part will be 2. Okay, then we have 3. So for the actual frequency distribution, all I need to do now is just write the last digit of the numbers according to their leading digits. So I will have here 5, 6, for 16, and another 6 for 16, 7 for 17, 8 for 18, 9 for 19, and 9 for another 19. So next thing I can do here is move on to 2. So I have here 3 zeros. I just need to write those 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3. I have here 2 ones. I have 1, 1, 2 twos. So we have here 2, 2. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I have 3 fours. So, ayun. Ulitin natin. Again, I have here 1, 2, and 3. Then we have here our leaf, which is 5, 6, 6, 7, 18, 19, 19, 20, 20, 20, 21, 21, 22, 22. Then I have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I have fours here. 1, 2, 3. Then I have fives. 5 lang pala. 5, 3, 6. 1, 2, 3. Then 7. Then 8, 8, 9, 9. So that then let's move on to the 3. So we have there two zeros for 30s. And we have 1. And we have 2. And we have so that would look like your stem and leaf plant. So this will be the stem and this will be the leaf. This ones. That is why we call this stem and leaf plant. Right? Makikita natin dito class, frequency distribution table pa rin siya. Kasi makikita natin kung ilan yung values or makikita natin yung frequency ng ating data. But at the same time, para rin siyang graph. Kasi as we can see here, bumukha siyang parang bar graph. Kasi meron tayong parang pinakang histogram. So, ang nagiging problema lang when it comes to stem and leaf plot, yung nangyari nga din sa twos. So, masyadong marami yung nasa 20s. So, ang dami ring naging data. So when it comes to values that are greater than 3 digits, for example, if we have here, let's say, our data ranges from 2 to 1 to, let's say, 255. So for this kind of data, ang hirap naman class ano kung ang gagawin natin digit ay 2. So, medyo magiging problematic yun. So, for this type of data, yung mga 3 digits na. For stem and leaf plot, ang gagawin lang natin dyan, our stem can be, say, you can have 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, then 2, 5. Then, yung ones place na yung ilalagay natin dito sa ating leaf. So, eh, ganun yung system natin when it comes to stem and leaf plot. Then, moving to graphical methods na. Ito, totoo na to. Let's talk about graphing frequency distribution. So basically, I have here 3 graphs that are usually used to graph FDT with interval. By FDT with interval, these are frequency distribution tables that are that have data that are qualitative, may it be discrete or continuous. So, ito yung tatlong graph na yun. So, we have there the histogram, we have there the frequency polygon, and the cumulative frequency polygon. So, for histogram, frequency distribution polygon, and cumulative frequency polygon, one of the prerequisite here, so that for you to construct these tables or graphs, is you need to construct the frequency distribution table itself first. Hindi mo pwedeng gawin yung histogram, yung frequency distribution table at yung iyong cumulative frequency polygon kung wala kang FDT first. For example, histogram utilizes the midpoint and also it utilizes the frequency. And as you can see here, frequency polygon utilizes the frequency. And cumulative frequency polygon utilizes our cumulative frequency. So before you can even graph your frequency distribution, you actually need to construct your frequency distribution table. And so in that, here are some pointers on how we can construct our histogram, our polygon, and our cumulative frequency polygon. So for the histogram, it will be a graph in which classes are marked out on the horizontal axis X and the class frequency on the vertical axis, which is Y. So again, you have the classes are marked out on the horizontal axis. So, kumbaga, nandito yung classes natin. And class frequencies naman yung nandito sa taas. So, you can you can just use the midpoints to mark out those classes. So the height of the bars of the histogram represents the class frequency, and the bars are drawn adjacent to each other. So it means that for a certain, say, these are our frequencies or our not frequencies, are our classes. So if this is the bar of the first class, dapat kung isusulat natin yung bar nung next na class, dapat kadikit siya. So, mangyayari magkakaroon parang ganyan. So, ito yung second na class mo. Then, say, ito yung next. Then, meron ka dito isa pa. So, makikita nyo kapag gumawa kayo ng histogram, dapat dikit-dikit sila. Okay? So, that is what we mean by adjacent to each other. So, and lastly, the histogram focuses on frequency of each class and sacrifices whatever information was contained in actual observation. Just like I stated when we talked about the stem and leaf flat, since the histogram utilizes the frequency of the class itself, the class frequencies and the classes, uh, we lose most of our data. We just know that within this range, there is a specific frequency for that, and ayun, nawawala yung actual observations natin. So, that is for histogram. And our next is frequency polygon. So, frequency polygon is a graph that displays the data using points which are connected by lines. So, the frequencies are represented by the heights of the points and the midpoints of the class. And lastly, the vertical axis represents the frequency of the distribution, while the horizontal axis represents the midpoints of the frequency. Okay? Frequency distribution. So, in that, kung kanina, yung graph ng ano natin, ng histogram natin ay ganito yung itsura. So, kung yan yung ating histogram, how about the frequency polygon? So, for the frequency polygon, what we can do here is, example, you just need to account for the midpoints of your classes. Then you just pinpoint the frequency. So this is the midpoint. This is the frequency. Graph lang natin. So what will happen here is mangyayari dito balik class is from 0, what will happen is you just need to connect those frequencies and you end with the next midpoint, then that will be your frequency polygon. Okay, that is why we call it frequency polygon, because it creates a polygon, or the frequencies together with the midpoint create a polygon. So, and for the last one, we have the cumulative frequency distribution. So, or what we call the ogive. By ogive, it is a graph that displays the cumulative frequencies of the classes in the frequency distribution. So vertical axis is for the cumulative frequency of each class, and the horizontal axis is the upper class boundary of each class. So as you can see here, upper boundary, which is nakukuha lang din natin when we construct our frequency distribution table. So if we are to try this, ayan, walang space. Wala akong nailagay na space for the construction of these graphs. So basically, let's try to construct a histogram, frequency distribution polygon, frequency polygon, and an ogive for the FDT below. As you can see here, this frequency distribution is actually our the final product for our construction of FDT last time when uh, nung diniscuss natin yung ating frequency distribution table. So, let's start with histogram. So, for histogram, ito yung mga kailangan natin. What we need for the histogram is actually the class limits and our frequency. So, yung dalawa lang yung focus natin for the histogram. So, what we can do here is we just draw our axis here. So, we have here the y-axis and the x-axis. So, as you can see here, class limits yung ilalagay natin dito sa x-axis, then frequency dito sa taas. So, our highest frequency is 14. So, medyo estimation na lang gawin natin. So, this will be 14, say. Say that will be 14. This will be 7. So, this will be 3.5. Ay, no. This will be 3.5. So, andito yung 4. 3.5. So, this will be 11. Okay. Yung part na yan. Okay. So, yun gawin natin. Then, let's account for the class limits. So, this will be 18 to 26. Then, we have, for 18 to 26, we have 3. So, what we can do here is just draw a bar here. So, this will be our 18 to 26. So you can actually write your class here at the bottom. So next will be 27 to 35. So ang next na mangyayari dito is we just need to uh, map 5. So I think dito yan. So just do that. Then we have 36 to 44. 36 to 44 is 9. So about here. Then we have 45 to 53. It's 14. And last, ay hindi ko pala lastly, we have here our 54 to 62. So that is 11. And we have 63 to 71. Yung malaki pala itong ginawa ko. So that will be 6 about here. And lastly, we have the 72 to 80. That is 2. So about this height. So that will be our frequency distribution table or our histogram pala. So for the frequency polygon, paalam na lang ako sa inyo. Dito ko lang din isulat or ilagay yung aking frequency polygon within this graph. But for the frequency polygon, what we need to account for is the midpoint. So this will be the midpoints. So, and the frequency. again, the frequency. So, for that, all I need to do now is just account for the midpoints. So, the midpoints actually will be 22, right? 31, 40. On second thought, gawin na lang natin panibago. Okay, so this will be our FDT or our frequency polygon, wherein we have 22, we have uh, 31, 40, 49, 58, then we have 67, and we have 76. So the next midpoint I think will be but anyway, so again, let's just take the frequencies. So we have here, if this is 7, this is 14, this is 11, this is 4. Okay, so let's just do this. Tapat-tapat lang. So this will be 3. This will be, so yan yung isa. Then we have 5, so about here. Then we have 9 para sa 40. So about here, I think. Then we have 49. For 49, we have 14. So 14. Then we have, for 58, we have 11. Then for 67, we have 6. So about Gitol. Mali pala yung pwesto ng isa na. So, dapat ay bumaba natin. So, dyan. Then for 76, we have 2. So, about here. So, as you can see here, if we draw the line, we have here from this point, connect mo lang siya dito. Then, connect mo lang ulit siya. Then, this one, then this one, then yan. So, this will be our frequency distribution, wherein this again will be the frequencies. Okay. This will be the midpoints. Okay. So, and we just map out the frequencies for each midpoint. Therefore, we have this frequency polygon. So same concept applies for the ogive, but this time you need to account for the upper boundary, which is actually this one. Let me just change the color of the pen. So we'll be using this upper boundary, then the cumulative frequency. Okay? Wherein ang mangyayari ay yung ating cumulative frequency, yun yung nandito. That will be, that will replace the F. And the class boundary. Class boundary naman yung nandito sa baba. So, what will happen here is just parang ilagay ko na lang dito sa may ibabaw para lang makita nyo. So, imbes na 22, ang isusulat lang natin dito ay 26.5. Okay? Then we have 35.5, 44.5, then we have 53.5, then we have 62.5, then we have 71.5, and lastly we have 80.5. Then what we need to do here is just map out the cumulative frequency. So it will be, instead of just 14, we'll be ending at 50. So it will be 0 to 50. Right? So this will be 25. Okay. So this will be 10. Okay? So mangyayari lang dyan, kumbaga, Sa 26.5, start ka sa 3. Okay? Then, punta kang 8. Then, punta kang 17. 17, I think, medyo dito. 17, then 31. Lampos na tayong 25, mga dito. Then, we have there 42. Lapit na sa ano, sa 50. So, 42, then 48, then yung 50. So, mangyayari lang itsura ng graph in comparison to ano, our frequency polygon will be like this. Kung yung frequency polygon ay parang ka-shape nung ano, nung ating histogram, itong ating ogive would look like this. Pwede rin yung baliktad class kung ang gagamitin nyo ay yung greater than na cumulative frequency. Okay? So, that will be our three graphs for the qualitative data. By qualitative data, we mean the interval and the ratio level of measurement. Okay? So, let's move to the nominal charts. So, by nominal charts, kasi tapos na tayo ron sa ating tapos na tayo dun sa ating interval at saka yung ratio data. So, for the nominal charts, these are actually graphs that display nominal data. To be exact. So, by nominal charts, hindi siya focus lang sa nominal charts. Pwede rin natin siyang gamitin sa ordinal charts. So, here are the types of the charts. So, we have there the Pareto chart, we have the bar graph, and actually and lastly, the pie chart. So, ano bang difference tong tatlong to? So, by Pareto chart, by bar graph, and pie chart, ano ba yung pinagkakaiba nila? So, simulan natin. So, by Pareto chart, this is actually used to represent distribution for categorical data. So, like any other na pre-mentioned na nominal graphs, ganun din naman sila. Bar chart also represents or shows categorical data. And same with pie chart. So frequencies are displayed by heights of vertical bars, which are arranged from highest to lowest. So for example, I have here this data, which is the favorite subjects of BSF or BS fisheries. So, ang kailangan ko lang gawin when it comes to Pareto chart, para lang din palang bar chart ito. So, ang kaibahan lang, I just need to arrange the data from highest to lowest. Since ang highest ko ay PE, so what will happen here is I just need to create another graph here, wherein it's just another bar graph, wherein I will start with PE because PE has the highest frequency. So, next will be zoology. So, that will be zoo because it's 18. Next will be Kim. Then, last is we have our GEC4. GEC1 pala yan. GEC1 or what we call understanding the self. So, in that, you just need to show them using vertical graphs or vertical bars. So, if we have here, if we have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So this is 5, this is 25, this is 15. So PE 25. So just need to create this 25. So that will be for PE. Then for SOO, I have 18. So about YTOL. Okay. Then chemistry. Chemistry is 10. So about here. Nope. about here. And lastly, I have GEC1, which is 7. So about here. So, so let's look into this first. So as you can see here, ayun, para lang din siyang bar graph. Ang kaibahan lang yung data natin, we just arrange our data from highest to lowest. And also, as you can see here, there is actually a gap in between each bar. Not like our unlike our histogram, wherein we need the bars to be adjacent to each other. For Pareto charts, hindi siya tabi-tabi. Okay? So that is how you create a Pareto chart. So for the next one, we have the bar graph. So for bar graph, parang Pareto chart lang din ito. The only difference here is we just need the bases of the rectangles are arbitrary intervals whose centers are codes or categories. It just means that there's no actual value for our data here. We just need to uh, indicate our arbitrary interval, and also the height of each rectangle represents the frequency of that category. Almost same as Pareto chart. The only difference here is we don't need to arrange our data. So also it is applicable to categorical data or nominal level. Also, it would also work for ordinal level of measurement. So for example, I have here the same data from earlier. So I have here the favorite subjects of PSF. But for bar graph, not unlike Pareto chart, I will just create a graph wherein I have here the chem, I have here PE, I have here SOO, and I have here GEC1. Then in that, I just need to account for the frequencies. So the frequencies here will be, sabi niya, highest is 25, so we have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So this will be 25, 15, 5, 10 for chem. So it will be here. And we have here PE, which is 25. Then I have here SOO, which is 18, about here, pistol. Then I have understanding the self, which is 7. So, as you can see here, it's almost the same as a Pareto chart. The only difference here is we don't need to rearrange the data. Or by rearrange the data, we don't need the data to be arranged from highest to lowest. So, we have here your bar chart. And for the next nominal graph, we have the pie chart. So for the pie chart, it is actually a circle, or as in a pie, that is divided into portions that represent the relative frequencies or percentages of data belonging to different categories. So the data in the pie chart should be categorical or nominal level, and that's it. You just need to get the percentages or the relative frequencies. So in that, we have here the same data. What we need to do now here is just compute for the RF. Pwede naman diretso na lang tayo dun sa ating percentage. So by percentage, all we need to do here is just divide 10 by 60, then we multiply that by 100. Same goes for PE. So we have 25 divided by 60. But why 60? Some of you may be asking because our total is 60. So we have here 25 divided by 60 divided by times 100. Then we have 18 uh, multiplied by divided by 16 multiplied by 100, and again 7 divided by 60 multiplied by 100. So calculate, right? Let me just type this in my calculator. Mhm. So I have here 10 divided by 60. That will be 16.67%. Again, we have here our 25 divided by 60, which is 41.67%. And again, we have 18 divided by 60. So that will be 30%. And lastly, that will be 7 divided by 60 times 100. That will be 11.29. So that will be our percentages. So pwede na lang natin gawin ngayong class para malaman natin. Kasi as you can see here, as you may have remember, pi is a circle. Okay? So in that, we need to divide the pi in terms of its portion. So ibig sabihin, 16% of this graph will be allotted for chemistry. Okay? 25% will be allotted for PE. No, not 25%. 41.67% for PE, 30% for zoology, and understanding the self, which is 11.29%. So what we can do here actually is get or determine the degrees, kung ilang degrees ba yung sasakupin ng ating graph. By degrees, yes, yun po. Kung isipin nyo. This graph is actually this circle can be divided into 360 degrees, isang ikot. So what we can do here is just multiply 16.67% to 360. Then pwede nating ma-determine kung ilang degrees yung graph na gagawin natin. Okay? So, by degrees, pwede mo actually gawin ay kumuha ka ng protractor. Tapos yung protractor na yun yung gagamitin mo sa pagsusukat. So, try nyo i-compute kung ilang degrees. So, bali mangyayari, if you, tingnan natin kung may nag-compute nga ba. But anyway, so we have here 360. What you can do there, class, is wag nyong, since uh, yung percentages natin ay continuous na 16.6666 and so on. Ang pwede yung gawin yung direct yung computation. So what you can do is divide 10 by 60, then multiply it to 360. So, bali ang mangyayari dyan, kung nag-compute kayo, that will be 60 degrees. Okay? Then again, do that also for 25. You have 25 divided by 60 times 360. So you will have 150 degrees. Then same goes for zoology, which is 18 divided by 60. Multiply it by 360. You will have 108 degrees. And for the last one, we have 7 divided by 60. And multiply it by 160, which is 42. So, if you actually add all of this, if you add 60 plus 150 plus 108 plus 42, you will actually have a sum which is 360. So, ang gagawin nyo na lang ay i-plot out siya. So, mula rito sa center ng inyong circle, mag-draw out muna kayo ng isang line para magkaroon kayo ng tawag dito, ng starting point. Then from that line, what you can do actually is measure. So para dun sa 60 daw, di ba? So 60 degrees mula dito sa angle na to ay mga siguro nandito sa area to. So dito. So, wala dyan. You just need to draw a line there. So that will be for the part of your chemistry. So, para dun sa part na yon, sulat mo yung chem. Then, sulat mo kung ilang percent, which is 60.67%. Then, you move on to PE. So, for the PE part, ang gagawin nyo na lang, what you can do is actually, again, measure mula dito sa line na to. Okay? Then, ang kailangan mo ay 150 degrees. So, siguro, mga, andito siya. Okay? So, nangyayari, ayan yung cut ng iyong PE. So, this will be PE. And this will be 41.67%. Okay? Then, you have here, ang next mo ay zoology, which is 108 degrees. So, from this line, pwede natin gawin, measure lang tayong 108. Siguro, mga nandito siya. So, ayan. So, as you can see here, this will be the portion for zoology. And this is 30%. And lastly, we have there the GEC one, or understanding the self, which is 11.29%. So there you go. We have there our pie chart. You can spice things up. Pwede ninyong bago-baguhin yung kulay ng per portion para mas maging maganda yung itsura niya. So para sa shortcut nito, pwede nyo actually i-check using, may mga apps naman tayong pwedeng gamitin pang-construct ng ating mga graphs or lalong-lalo na nitong mga nominal charts. Medyo kakaunti yung para dun sa mga sa histogram, sa frequency distribution. Pero with the advent of technology, if you want to check if your construction is correct, you just need to Google it. Bale, pagalingan na lang maghanap at para patamaan ng mga kikitang website. So in that, you have there your pie chart. So, for your assignment, this is where we end the video. So using the information below about the sales of snack, construct a Pareto chart, a bar chart, and a pie chart of the data below. So that will be your assignment, and I will be expecting your answers or your I will be expecting the turning of your answer by tomorrow. I know, not tomorrow. Wednesday ng hapon. Okay? So in that, bye class.